7:30 a.m., 1039 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Kapowski here. Going back and forth. Kelsey Huffine, Kelsey Kapowski, Huffine over here. Co-host Richie Jones to my left, and of course, Pops on the other side of the screen. It is a very, very pollinated month of March, it seems like. I have been in and out of bed all week. Hasn't been a fairly kind week for me with the allergies going on. So, I'm maybe in and out of here over the tissues, trying to keep it off the mic, off screen, all that good stuff. But, man, do we still have some news to talk about on this fine Saturday morning where we are 4 or 5 odd months away from college football kickoff?
Can we not talk about that? I'd like to not.
Man, we got Spring Day coming up, man.
Spring Day is on the horizon. I think it's up
Saturday.
next week, next Saturday, right? We got, of course, the Final Four this weekend. Some action-packed games to follow until we have to rely on baseball season to get us through the summer months here in North Alabama.
Do not act like you're going to forget about the greatest weekend in college sports.
Oh, you're talking about the Masters coming up.
It's
talking about the Masters.
The Masters is coming up, of course, and I'm assuming Tiger Woods will not be competing in the Masters.
Well, I guess it depends on who you ask, because the police officer that had him handcuffed asked him, and he said he was going to, and then he released a statement that he was going to take some time away from everything. But who knows? Maybe he will grace the Amen corner next weekend.
Well,
he'll be sitting there as a commentator talking about it.
ESPN would probably pay him a plethora of dollars.
Tom Brady contract. How can you be the greatest player and probably one of your greatest players in your sports history, but at the same time you're one of the biggest what if stories as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, he did that shit. He did that to himself.
So I asked a friend of mine. The question was brought up how I felt about Tiger. I brought up, I don't know if you know this story, Mike Tyson in his heyday paid a man $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
His entire purpose in life was to walk behind Mike Tyson and tell him how great he was. That's all he did. He paid a guy $60,000 a year to tell him how great he was everywhere he went, anytime he walked anywhere.
Could you also call Michael Jordan one of the greatest what if stories in basketball as well? I know he's the greatest player of all time, but in the same scenario as we're talking about with Tiger Woods, he had gambling addictions. He had, other problems that we didn't see behind the scenes. Did you make that argument too?
Well, hold on. Let's come back to that.
Yeah.
My question would be to you.
Yeah.
Tiger calls you up right now. Says, Kelsey, what you doing? And you're like, I'm on my radio show. What do you need, Tiger? He goes, I'd like to pay you to be my driver.
I mean, I'd do it.
How much would Tiger have to offer you to move to Jupiter, Florida? Nice little gated community, and just drive him anywhere, anytime he wanted to go. Basically, drive him Miss Daisy.
We'll start off $100,000 a year.
100? Shoot, more than that. This is Tiger Woods you're talking about.
I know. He's
this
a
dude's worth hundreds of $1 million.
Billion. I think he's
yeah.
How much?
100.
How much more would he be worth if he never had 7, back surgeries and car wrecks? And
I got to realize that I'm not the only guy in contention here, though.
That's a good point.
There's another guy that's sitting around the corner that might do it for 98. Like, I don't know.
98 and putting me up in the guest house?
Yeah, but 100,000 is pennies, man. Pennies on the dollar, man. So a Tiger Woods, 100,000 might be his pocket change, man. He's still going to treat you like a pocket change driver if that's the point.
Well, I get that.
I would say, I'll do it. $1 million a year. Come on, man. Let's go. And I'll be the best dang driver you've ever seen, man. I'm going to be hitting my blinker left, right, proper brake checks. I mean, and if a cop pulls up behind me, even though there's a Tiger Woods license plate on the back, man, I'm going to make sure that complete like 20-second turns. I mean, it's going to be the best driving you've ever seen.
It depends if I'd also get paid to be his caddy.
No. He's got another guy for that.
He's got another guy for that?
Yeah. You're just
caddy. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I may be at the same time, though, inclined to man, I forgot where I was going with this comment. It was a good comment. I forgot about it now. I don't know.
I mean, I think 100,000. You put me up in the guest house.
Yeah.
I get to drive around a brand new whatever anytime,
Which car sponsorship does he have? Cadillac still? Escalade?
Well, he was in a Land Rover that he flipped onto its side, which is kind of impressive if you think.
Land Rover's got to be top heavy, doesn't it? I mean, I know Jeeps are top heavy.
Yeah.
Kind of the same, in a way, right?
Which was funny because I saw Tesla put out a whole video about how hard it is to flip a Tesla. It was like 72 minutes after like Tiger flipped is like, oh look, this just absolutely just came across our feed. Look at submit.
I think if I was Tiger's driver, I almost like I would ask him personally, hey, do you want me to get pulled over just so you can like have them see that somebody's driving you now?
Oh, that would be a good PR stunt.
That would be a great PR stunt,
Like,
right?
make sure TMZ is nearby.
Yeah. Although he does not want a driver. He's been public about this. He does not want a driver.
He wants
Here's
to
my
be able to
thing.
drive himself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's high. Justin Timberlake, the videos of him came out recently in his stop up in Tennessee. Like, when you've got that kind of money, get you protect. That's part of protecting.
Call an Uber, man.
Did he
Uber
get
is your
stopped
friend.
again? I thought
Well, no,
last time I remember he was stopped, he was in like the Hamptons.
Well, I thought this was in Tennessee. It may have been, but there was he got pulled over and the body cam footage got released. But anyway, back to sports. But you asked Michael, is he the greatest athlete that still has a what if story? I will go to my grave until Michael Jordan himself walks up this driveway and goes, nope, that's not what happened. And I will 1000% believe he got caught gambling. The NBA was like, look,
he went to baseball.
We're going to suspend you for 18 months.
Yeah.
They were like, whoa, we can't let the face of basketball get suspended for gambling. You're going to retire. Your owner of the Bulls also happens to own the Chicago White Sox. You're going to go play baseball for a year and a half, be a big stunt. We're going to continue paying your contract. And then all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, 18 months later, you're going to send a fax that says, I'm back.
Can I make a point on this whole Michael Jordan? Okay. Ask your original question again. What was your question?
Could we put this in the same realm of the Tiger Woods situation? Okay. We're calling Tiger Woods one of the greatest golfers of all time. At the same time, he's one of the biggest what if golfers of all time. Could you put Michael Jordan in that same tier for all his issues that he was going on with?
And here's why Michael Jordan is not a what if. He's not trying to stay relevant. Okay, you don't hear about Michael Jordan in the headlines every week now.
I saw he was in the headlines last week. You know what he was doing?
What was he doing?
Interviewing for the North Carolina job.
Well, but I mean,
was that a stunt? I believe it
No,
was a stunt. Jordan has no prior.
But my point with all these other guys, the Tiger Woods of the world, the who else? The LeBrons of the world, all these Tom Brady's of the world, all the GOATs, right?
Yeah.
Jordan's not trying to stay relevant in the headlines. He's not. You don't see him doing those things.
What's
man.
funny though that you say that.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan still sells more sneakers every year
No, he
than
does.
That's their product.
than the rest of the current NBA combined.
Yeah, I mean that's his product though. That's his legacy.
Yeah.
But you're not. You don't see Jordan on commercials. You
And-
don't see him on social media clips. He doesn't have a 30-minute, maybe he does, and I just don't know it, like a 30-minute podcast every week.
No, yeah.
Every once in a while, the only time you ever see Jordan anymore, he's some room smoking a cigar and it's some off 30-second little blip, and that's it. But he's not trying to stay relevant like every other person does on social media.
He did the Last Dance during COVID, which was really well done by ESPN. And then about, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, he sat down with the guy from CBS Sports and had like a 30-minute interview. And that's, I mean, legit. That's about it.
Before we go off on too much here, if we want to go into basketball what ifs or anything like that, we'll do that in the show later. All the more what if stories to follow today. But we also remember that this week was also April 1st, April Fool's Day. Did anybody get got? Anybody get got?
No.
I
Nobody
tried.
got
I told Kelsey we were moving to Texas.
I knew it was a lie.
Yeah. Took a job in Texas. I did not take a job in Texas.
I knew it was a lie. There were so many things adding up to that I was like, there's no way. No.
Yeah.
I was like, there's just no way. Dad's talking about buying stuff here. And I'm like, there's no way. There's just too conflict of interest there.
Hey, in Northern Alabama, if you got about 100 acres for sale, hit me up.
This is how I knew that was a lie. He's trying to buy acreages here, but yet
Hit me up.
it's how
A little bit of waterfront or
I would love waterfront,
Yeah.
Something along
I mean, if we're gonna sit here and ask for it, might as well ask for all
Mississippi
of it.
River, leading into Smith Lake, something along Tennessee River, although you're going to pay more for that. But hey, this is a sports college football sports show.
Hit us up, guys. You got anything, any land for sale, any acreages that Pops might be interested, you can hit us up on Facebook at Off the Bench.
Sorry,
Or you can send us any text questions or comments about the show today. If you want to get in on the conversation, you can do so. Best way to do so for that would be on YouTube at Off the Bench. Hit us up in the comment section right here. There's many ways to get in contact with us, as well as you can hit us up on email too. offthebench1039@gmail.com. You can hit us up there. Any questions, text, comments, stuff like that. Want to get involved, you can do so. There's so many ways to do so. So my original question was April 1st, right? Well, Boise State decided to take April Fool's Day a little too literally this week.
Somebody in their legal department didn't check the calendar.
Maybe not, because Kentucky football announced that the Kroger Field would go to a full Big Blue field, literally, including a blue turf, a move that would mimic Boise State's famous playing surface, right? Well, Boise State hit back, responded in the comments, playing along with a mock cease and desist, highlighting their ownership of the blue turf.
Well, first of all,
Do they legally own the blue turf?
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Copyrighted is a trademark.
Were they trying to add to the? Did they not realize it was April Fool's Day, or were they trying to add to it and it just kind of fell flat?
Well, there was no announcement if it was a joke or not, but to the rest of the world, it looked like they took it literal.
Okay, so it fell flat. Basically. Regardless of how it was supposed to come off, it fell flat.
It went viral for a reason, though.
I've always thought if you were a company, a person, and you had a crazy idea, but you didn't know if it would work or not, if you're like, take this what you're talking here, Kentucky, they're changing their field blue. Somebody at Kentucky at some point in time has thought, why don't we do something different than the
Honestly,
rest of
it would be amazing. Kentucky is known for being Big Blue.
Yeah,
it's
and they
Big
call
Blue
themselves
Nation, right?
Yeah,
the Bluegrass State.
Bluegrass State. For any team around the country, okay, Coastal Carolina doesn't make a ton of sense. Boise State still doesn't make a ton of sense. It's historical. That's it. They have no reason to do so.
Yeah.
Kentucky, they have blue in their history, literally.
Yeah.
So my thing would be is, so if somebody at Kentucky has at some point in time woke up from a cold sweat and gone, what if we painted the field blue?
Like what's the thing at Alabama? Like Alabama's I bleed crimson, I bleed red, right? Kentucky, they bleed blue.
Yeah.
Kentucky bleeds blue.
Bama never goes to a crimson field.
No,
that never happened.
I mean,
we
wear crimson helmets.
Yeah.
What about a houndstooth end zone?
That would be cool. Why not? Ooh,
what about
could you imagine having to paint that damn thing?
What about a houndstooth head stripe? Like down the.
We actually had that one time. It was the Pro Combat jerseys, and they were amazing, and they should bring that back.
Back when
they're sitting there talking about, I've heard all kinds of talk about a white helmet.
So okay, so take that for instance. What I'm saying here is, if you were trying to actually gauge your fan base to see how they would feel about something, why not put it out on April 1st? And if the fans hate it, you just go, oh, sorry guys, it was an April Fool's joke. It just didn't. Sorry, my bad. It didn't hit right. Or if the fans are like, dude, this would be amazing. Why don't you do that? And you're like, write the check.
Somebody would write that check. Some donor would say, yeah, let's do it.
So Dunkin' Donuts did something like this year, and they did it last year as well. They said they were giving out, I think, 1,000 coffees last year for free.
Yep.
Nobody took them seriously, right? But there's a lot of people think it could be real, because this year they did the same thing. They literally came out and said, y'all didn't believe us. We're giving out 1 million free coffees today.
Oh, nice.
So they went back with it this year. I still don't know if it's real or not. But it's a good marketing plan.
Right. I think legit, like Kentucky could post it out on April 1st.
Yeah.
And if the fan base, the Big Blue Nation, as they are so lovingly referred to, came out and was like, yes.
BBN, man. The BBN. Big Blue Nation.
Careful with that.
Yeah. I know. Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, okay. BBN.
TV 14 show, guys. As we're not on TV.
And if the fan base comes out and loves it, cool. All right. What if we actually did it?
I mean, that's a great idea. I mean, could you say it's false advertising though? Even because it's on April 1st, you always said that fallback.
Right. Well, you just come back, and if everybody in the chat hit, if there's F's in the chat,
right,
then you just go, hey guys, it was an April Fool's joke. We were just kidding.
Yeah.
But if the chat comes back with W's.
Dude, there's a reality. You got to remember how they release that. Not Twitter, it'd be X now. Social media, Facebook, Instagram. It's all social media releases. So it's all really considered satire, man. It's like you can put anything out on social media, and it's like, oh yeah, we're just kidding, man.
We were just kidding about
We're just kidding, man.
You couldn't take it seriously.
But if you release it officially, like on the AP Wire, and And that would be like, oh, wait a second here, man. What are you doing?
Right, because if they did, okay, so take the same thing you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
so today Kentucky comes out and announces on the AP, that, calls up CBS or ESPN and goes, "Hey, we're painting the field blue," and the fans just completely, go, against it.
Yeah.
Well, now you've actually put out there that you're doing it, and now it's a thing. You put it on social media on April 1st. The fans are actually like, "Yeah, let's do. That would be great. Let's do it." And, then you just okay.
Hey, remember this conversation we're having, Richie?
Uh-oh.
I'm just saying, this is great setup for later segments in the show. I'm just saying.
Gosh. All right. Well, I'm saying this. I'm in favor of a Kentucky blue field or a white helmet for Alabama. I like them both. I think it would be cool.
I like houndstooth
love-
end
It's a
zone,
good
man.
change
I
up.
would love to bring the white helmet back.
Oh, you know when you do the houndstooth end zone when Kentucky's playing Tennessee? When Alabama is playing Tennessee at home is when you do the houndstooth end zone.
Yeah,
Great.
instead of the checkerboard.
Oh yeah, you're mocking the checkerboard.
Have you
first of
seen
all.
real quickly because we got to take a break here?
Yeah.
Have you seen the what Alex Gullis is doing with Auburn practices? He's blaring Dixieland Delight. I think it's a phenomenal move.
Just
They have a whole preparation point, like a segment in practice, where they are focusing solely on the Iron Bowl. It's almost building up like an Army Navy style, like beat Alabama, beat Auburn, stuff like that.
so in other
I'll
words,
give Auburn props on this one. I think
Except-
that's a great thing.
Except for in Tuscaloosa, we don't say beat Auburn. We don't say beat Tennessee.
we say,
beat everyone.
we say, we'll say it like that.
yeah, you wouldn't want to use a 4-letter word on the radio.
7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. Guys, we got a lot of stuff to get to today. Of course, the executive order signed yesterday. We're going to discuss a little bit about that. And, of course, the Final Four this weekend leading up to the national championship on Monday. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show.
Hold on, I
hate
got to get back to the
7:30 a.m. 1039 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Huffine, co-host Richie Jones, sitting to the left of me, and of course, Pops, opposite side of the camera from us. We've been going through a little bit of a joking news this morning. We're going to continue that trend up until the bottom of the hour here on Off the Bench. The Utah State also decided to play a joke with their field, and I think another cease and desist tweet was sent to them by Boise State. They were celebrating their inaugural season within the Pac-12, right? This would be their first year coming up to the Pac-12. So they teased a black and white cowhide patterns turf. Any
repeat that one more time?
They teased a black and white cowhide turf.
So they're just pulling Boise State strings there, man.
That's all it is, right?
Yeah.
A cow print field.
Yes. And this is the exact wording of this. The announcement included a QR code that rickrolled fans who scanned it for more info.
Well, hey, at least they got rickrolled, man.
They did.
You know what? I'll take it. Anytime you can rickroll somebody, it's a W.
It was a W. I think that was a good one. I like that one. Penn State also had another one. This is more photoshopping though. So the social media team slightly edited player photos, shrinking their arms, enlarging nostrils, or puffing out their cheeks, and then asked the players for permission to post them to see who would notice. This one's kind of dumbed down, I think.
Yeah.
I like that they're trying to that they at least got permission before, like, to see who, like,
hey, you want us to? We can do this to your face, right? We can do this to your arms.
or even more fun would have been like make everybody like update it where everybody's 6'4".
That's what they should have done. 7 foot tall. You know, if you look
Yeah.
back in like the 80s and 90s of Penn State's football rosters, these are just like completely steroid induced big guys.
Yeah.
If you look at, I think there was a game, it was Miami and Penn State playing, and I think it was a national championship or something. And these guys are just absolutely huge mob style guys. And it was, I think it's funny to see that because that's no longer the case. And you
Well,
really
I
don't
mean,
get
these student athletes are so protective of their image, and what Richie just said, I think, is spot on with at least they got the athlete's permission, right,
Yeah.
to do that. I mean, could you imagine if you wake up and they post this picture and you're known for being this like jacked running back that's got legs the size of tree trunks, and all of a sudden you see this picture of yourself and it's spring practice and everybody's going, my, what happened to, oh boy, he's small now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
these guys are so protective of their image. But, you know, it's April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. Good
Have
time
some
to do
fun.
that thing for the PR
I
teams.
think you could have made them all blue, you know, like giving them all like blue faces or whatever,
Yeah.
so that you don't change like their actual like physical appearance. You just make them all blue, or like I said, make them all 7 foot, like whatever they
7'5",
add
yeah.
like
a foot.
a foot and a half
Yeah.
to all of them. So it's like our running back is now 8'1".
Well, they
or-
already did that with Pavia down at Vanderbilt.
Oh,
They
that
did
wasn't a joke?
for the season, right?
Oh,
Was it an April Fool's?
Well, they added like
so-
4 or 5 inches to his height.
so he's actually 5'7". then.
Yes, that's how it is. Okay, we got a couple more to go through here. Georgia Tech jokingly announced a ban on the words hell and helluva from campus, replacing them with their official fight song with Tarnation and Doozy. Imagine if Alabama did that with Dixieland Delight.
It would be better if they would have picked any.
I mean, they kinda did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other words?
Yeah.
They decided to go with two of the nerdiest words.
Which is fitting for Georgia Tech.
very fitting, very fitting. FAU, Florida Atlantic claimed that they would play their September 19th game against FIU directly on the beach using the slogan "Cleats to the Sand" alongside mock-ups of palm tree line field.
I love it.
That's a great idea.
I'm in for that one. Yeah.
I would love
I'd
to
watch
see
it.
that.
That would be like top 10 watches all year long if they played a
Hey,
game
but
on
That would,
sand.
and
First
everybody
10 minutes.
talks about the glory behind the aircraft carrier basketball game.
Yeah.
Well,
That might be better.
the glory behind that was if you actually watched that
Well,
game,
yeah.
it was terrible. But the idea of them playing on the
It
carrier
was
was
yeah, it was a great idea.
Wasn't that the one where the wind was blowing the ball
everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. 7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. We're having some fun with the April Fool's Day jokes that went on this week. We're going to take a quick break here and get to the real news stories on the other side. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. 7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM, Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I am your host, Kelsey Huffine, co-host Richie Jones, sitting to the left of me, and of course, Pops opposite camera from us. We got some real news to get into. We've been playing some joking orders this morning with the April Fool's jokes that a couple college football teams wanted to go along with over the week. But now we're going to look at the bigger picture of what will likely affect college football to a whole this season. So an executive order was signed yesterday to try to combat the issues that we are dealing with in college football. Now, we've argued before on this, whether this is the way we really want to move forward in college football. We kind of have our opinions out there. You know, some like this, some don't. But what is this specifically targeting? This is going to target some transfer restrictions, pushing for limits on player movement, could reduce free agency to feel of a portal. So no longer having that quote free agency tag that we always bring along with it. This will bring in an eligibility cap, proposing a 5-year participation window in college sports, NIL crackdown targeting pay for play collectives, emphasis on fair market NIL only, and federal enforcement angle, which will schools could risk losing federal funding if non-compliant. So we know why this is happening. Of course, the explosion of NIL money, transfer portal movement, concerns from leadership, from roster instability, competitive imbalance, and financial strain on programs. But the whole pushing the idea is because the president feels like it is the college sports are out of control and needs federal structure. So there's obviously some massive legal questions to go along with this. But first, I want to get into what is actually being proposed in this. First, we're going to see what a lot of people have already been kind of, they've already been in favor of. In fact, to the point of one being you get one free transfer is what this is pushing into. And then when you are a graduate, you also get another free transfer. I do feel like this is a correct move for the sport. I actually like this part of it. The details in it, I do like. Maybe I don't like the structure and how it's being pushed along, but certain details within this I do like. And one of that, for sure, that is sticking out for me is the player movement restriction.
Okay, so obviously we've discussed this in plethora of my opinion on this. I think there's the way the world should be, and then the way the world is. Yeah. And unfortunately, this falls under the way the world is. Yeah. Okay. We shouldn't have to go to Congress and Washington D.C. to fix what's going on in Tuscaloosa and Athens, Georgia, and Knoxville, Tennessee. Like, we shouldn't have to go to D.C. Unfortunately, we live in the world we do, and at some point we have to. It seems like, you know, Trump had that big meeting with all the folks and Saban and the SEC commissioner and everybody and their brother was there, and he basically said, "Hey, if y'all don't come up with something, I'm just going to sign an executive order." Sounds like he's following through with what he said there. My only addition to that, I agree with what you're saying. You get one free transfer. If you graduate, you get another transfer, because we're pushing you actually, you know, graduating. Heaven forbid we go back to the whole student part of the student athlete.
Well, and that's the whole thing I don't get with Trinidad Chambliss. Trinidad Chambliss has been fighting for eligibility after eligibility after eligibility. And there's former players. I think this was either Jameis Winston or Tim Tebow or someone of that caliber had went out and said, I thought used to the goal was to get to the NFL. Now these kids are fighting to play more college football when you've already proved enough that you have, you could be a first-round pick. Chambliss might have been the first or second quarterback off the board. There's an argument that he is better than Fernando Mendoza in areas.
Dude, there's more money to be made in NIL
than a
rookie contract. I don't think Chambliss would be a number one pick.
Hold on.
I think you could make the argument that he would be the number one pick over Fernando Mendoza.
So two things. Yeah. One, go back to this. I would like to add that if your coach leaves or is fired, you get another transfer.
So we're listing 3 additional years already, guys.
Right. But so to ask your question.
Well, there's no free extra rule right there. You get 5 years no matter what in this. If you transfer, that doesn't add a rule. You're immediately eligible. Now, if you decide to try to transfer a second time before you're a graduate, that's when you likely lose an eligibility year.
So, but to answer your question about, okay, Mendoza is going to be the first pick of the NFL draft. He's going to sign a 4-year contract worth what? 60 million?
60
roughly
50, as a number one pick.
15 a year, maybe crazy 80 million. Okay. So most of that's not guaranteed. Maybe 50 of it's guaranteed over 4 years. So why not stay in college where it's a lot more fun. And okay, yes, if you're Mendoza, go, because you're not going to make 15 million in college next year.
And he's already reached the pinnacle. Mendoza was
Right.
already a Heisman guy. He's already won a national championship.
So if
Get
you're
out of here. Go to the NFL.
So if you're Trinidad, where you might be the second, you may be the third quarterback, you may be the fourth quarterback, you may fall and get picked by the Jets. Why not stay one more year in college, really show that you are the guy, you are the first pick guy. I don't blame that part of it, but
Well, I mean, look at what Ty Simpson did this year at Alabama. I mean, he forgo another year, and everybody's like, well, is he going to get picked, right? And now he's looked like he's going to be the second quarterback picked. He probably end up at the Jets, but he could have probably made more money.
There was rumors that Miami and Tennessee offered him $6 million.
$6 million, $7 million, yeah. And he said no. He goes, my name's on the Walk of Champions board as a captain. He goes, what kind of legacy do I leave at Alabama when my name's in the footprints, and I go down to Miami or wherever,
So look at this from a wider perspective of lens. Even though this executive order has been signed, one, it conflicts with existing court rulings protecting athletes.
Yep.
Okay. There's legal challenges for players and collectives everywhere. One, this could get held up in court for years. Two, this might not even get past a lot of things. Even though it's an executive order, doesn't have to go into effect. It's not 100% set in stone. This is starting at this date. All that has to happen is a judge comes up and says, it's conflicting with some of my rulings. We're not going to go with it.
Yeah.
This can get thrown out in 2 seconds or less.
Well, the first thing I read on this when I was reading up on it, actually, I did prepare for today's show. There's always a joke with that.
Once in a lifetime moment, here,
but
guys.
My point is
April
the number
Fools.
one point that was made, was that there was no player representation in this. And I'm sitting there thinking, do college football players have a players association? But there's no representation for the individual player. And, when you have something like that and you have judges making decisions left and right, you guys know my opinion on this. I think there's too much things going in the world today where we've got, Congress didn't do its damn job. So now the current administration has to step in.
So let's look into the perspective of what Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA, had to say about this. So he was initially supportive of this whole thing. He likes the idea of it. He was supporting the order. However, he does want to reinforce healthcare, scholarship, and athlete protections within this as well.
Healthcare.
He wants, I guess, to give them healthcare.
Well, they've got healthcare. These guys have the best sports recovery programs in the probably the world with the accessibility they have with all sports medicine and everything else.
I mean, this needs to be what needs to happen is a national standard instead of this state by state chaos that we've been going through, because that's what splits everything apart within this. If you have different rules in Texas, even at the high school level with NIL than you do in Alabama, there's a lot of separation there. Okay. If you're going to go play like Jet Thamalia, good example, Alabama commit next year. He was offered a scholarship to go play in another state where he would have gotten NIL. He had NIL set up already there. They were ready to offer him $100,000, $200,000, whatever it may be, to go play quarterback at that school, at a high school.
Yeah.
He stayed in Alabama, one, because he was being recruited by Alabama. Okay. And he eventually committed to Alabama. And let's be honest, in what world was a high school football player need to be making $200,000 a year? A lot of people aren't going to like that, but come on.
How many other people at that high school make $200,000 a year?
None.
The principal, maybe the administrator.
I guarantee
county
the principal.
administrator.
Unless you're an IMG.
Oh, I'm just saying, but that's the level of school we're talking about. We're talking about a private school. I guarantee it's a football academy.
It's
not like
let's
it's
give
Parkman
a top
over
high
here.
school in the country, okay? And I'm not going to know the salaries off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Let's look at Hoover and Thompson in Alabama. What do you think the principal makes a year there?
At Hoover?
Hoover or Thompson?
I have no clue. I'll almost bet you there's a state mandate around that because those are both public schools.
Right.
Hoover and Thompson both are. Sparkman's public school, Bob Jones here in
I
Huntsville.
mean, we could look at
or
private
Madison,
schools
excuse me.
like Madison Academy
But
or Westminster.
That's where I'm talking
Yeah.
about. When you start talking like private schools, I mean, these coaches make like collegiate level salaries. Okay.
Public school principals in Alabama earn an average salary of approximately
150.
108.
108.
108.
What's the the administrator? I mean, the above all the principals for a county.
High school. It is a little bit higher for high school. High school does average 118. So it's 108 through all principals of all levels of education in the state of Alabama. High school does average 118.
Well, I'm going to go back to what Kelsey was saying. What is a high school student athlete? Because they truly are student athletes in high school. You got to pass high school, right?
Yeah.
You got to maintain GPA still in high school. Last time I checked, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Or get a GED.
Yeah, or go and get a GED, or go be homeschooled.
Yeah.
And then go pick the school you want to play at. Okay, because that's the way kind of state Alabama would work or works. But does a kid need to be making $200,000-$300,000 a year to play high school quarterback for 11, 12, 13 games in his senior season, junior season, whatever it might be?
I tell you what solves a lot of this problem is the NFL and college football gets together and hires one Mr. Nicholas Bartholomew Saban.
This is his middle name Bartholomew?
No, I just always call him that. I have no idea what his middle name is, but I just like saying Nicholas Bartholomew Saban.
Saint Nick Saban.
Yeah, Saint Nick, and bring him in as the commissioner of college football, working alongside the commissioner of the NFL, so that all the rules of sport of football flow conjointly between the two of them. A catch is a catch in college football. And the NFL.
I disagree.
1 foot or 2 foot on the sidelines.
I disagree in one point here. I think that college football should directly challenge the NFL.
That would sound like a dumb idea since it's the most
Directly
powerful.
challenge 'em.
It's the most powerful. Like it's
sport.
Okay, I
That'd be
can
like
make an
you-
argument about this. Okay, and
that'd be
I
like
know
you
the answer
directly
to it, and
challenging-
I know this argument's wrong. We do have to take a quick break here in a second. I know this argument's wrong, and it can be proven wrong in 1 second. I think college football has enough leverage to just say, "All right, fine, start scheduling games on NFL Sundays."
I'd watch a Bama game over a Cowboys game.
Okay. In the state of Alabama, you are correct. The state of Ohio, you're not correct. The state of
That's
Texas,
the argument here.
the
The
state of
South,
Texas,
you can get this win in the South. and
I don't
would
think
get-
you get this win in all of the
Anywhere?
South.
I do.
You think they love them Aggies and them Longhorns over the Cowboys and the Texans?
I don't even think you
They
get this
don't.
win in Tennessee.
I think you get the win in Tennessee.
Oh, I do.
You definitely don't get it in Georgia.
I think the Vols fans are bigger than the Titans fans.
I don't know about that.
I would say the Bulldogs fans who
You
are
don't-
used to playing in a
Bigger than
national
the
spotlight are
Falcons.
bigger than the Falcons guys who
You-
lose it every year.
You put a Wisconsin Badger game.
No, I do agree with that.
Wisconsin.
Over Green Bay
Against
yes.
Green Bay?
Yeah.
Green Bay's going to win that argument.
Oh,
I get that. Okay,
tenfold.
you put anything in Michigan, Michigan's going to win. Possibly California.
Wait. Michigan? You think the University of Michigan, if they put a Detroit Lions game
Possibly.
at the
This
two,
is the North we're talking about. I'm just saying, this is the North we're talking about.
So
here.
Browns over Ohio State?
between the Browns, Cincinnati, yes, absolutely. The NFL wins.
Yeah.
the state of,
It's historic, right? It's just the historicness of the Cleveland
now,
Browns.
yes,
of-
Utah is going to
Yeah.
watch Utah
And BYU.
BYU over an NFL game. But I mean, you don't.
I think it would still be 60-40 and the NFL would still win.
I think it's
Even more than that.
75-25.
Yeah.
When you think
somewhere in that regard.
nationwide, because yeah. Oh man, that would be actually a fun experiment.
This would be
Like-
a couple caveats on the other side to this important legal matter we have on our hands in college football. We're going to get a little bit into more of that in just a second here. John hitting us up on the YouTube side. He said, good morning. He also said, Pops knows.
He was referencing my little money.
Yeah,
Thing.
Pops knows.
Yeah,
Pops knows.
Money talks.
Couple questions. If you want to hit us up on YouTube as well, you can do so. How do you feel about the limited transfer options? Should we have unlimited transfer freedom in college football, or should we have it restricted like before? Another important question here. who controls college sports now? Would it be the NCAA? Would it be federal courts? Or excuse me, federal government?
To be a college
or
sports
courts?
commission. There is that such thing. It's supposed to enforce NIL, but
should be.
it doesn't happen.
7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM. Jocks, Huntsville. You can answer those questions right here on YouTube here in the comment section. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Let's go. Hold on.
You're frozen up, Kels.
All right. .30 a.m. 103.9 FM. Jocks, Huntsville. This is the Off the Bench College Football Show. I'm your host, Kelsey Alfine, over here. Co-host Richie Jones sitting to the left. Pops opposite side of the camera from us.
Good morning.
There's been some news in the headlines this week. And first of all, if you want to follow along with us to the other side, this second hour of the show here, you can do so on 7:30 a.m. Jocks Huntsville and iHeartRadio and 103.9 FM Jocks Huntsville. If you're in the local North Alabama area, you can do so there, as we're going to end the stream here at 10 o'clock here to go over to the radio side. But first, Tyran Stokes, the number 1 overall recruit in the 2026 class in basketball, 6'7" guard forward type player, who is kind of being a toss-up right now in some ways. He was waiting for Bill Self to see what he was doing at the University of Kansas before he made his commitment. And Kansas, of course, made their offer, and Kentucky decided to match, as this looked like to be Kentucky's game if Bill Self was out of it. But Kentucky has matched the NIL offer, and now it seems like there's an open storage wars going on with Tyran Stokes.
Well, I mean, Kentucky has said they won't be outbid. I mean, this is a high school athlete again, coming up to the college ring saying, I'm a freshman, but I'm worth $6, $7, $8, $9 million.
So during the break, and we should sell like where fans can like listen to us during the break. You said that Kentucky basically came out and said we won't be outbid. Well, if I was Kansas or Duke, somebody that's actually competing against Kentucky every year, okay, 10. Offer him 10.
Yeah, the money's got to come from somewhere, though. You can offer them all the money you want, but it's got to come from somewhere.
So hear me out. I'm either going to make Kentucky spend half of their NIL on one kid, or I'm going to make Kentucky a liar, and I'm going to use that as my recruiting tool for now on.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
They said they were going to.
Look at,
they weren't going to be outbid.
What's his name? Yaxel Lindenborg for Michigan said he had been offered by Kentucky $10 million, $7 million, and he declined.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just came out the same thing about Alabama, and Oates came out and said, "Oh, we really didn't look too much into it. We didn't think we were going to get him." And then it's he's either lying or he's dumb.
Yeah,
that's the case with it. 7:30 a.m. 103.9 FM Jocks Huntsville. YouTube. We'll see you next week. We'll be back on the other side here on radio. This is Off the Bench.